Hey everybody, it's Chugga Conroy, and this is my Pokemon card collection. Collecting Pokemon cards is one of my personal hobbies outside of making videos, and I guess now this has to be consumed by that as well. But seriously, I've been collecting since 1998. I asked if you guys would be interested in seeing videos about my card collection, and you seemed into the idea, so here we are. This is Discardables. First off, I'd like to show off how the cards themselves are organized. Each set that I have at least 50% completion in gets a binder. There's a few of these that don't quite have 50% in them because I kind of had to make some binders pointlessly before I realized that it wasn't a good idea to make one for every set, but that's generally my first rule. Next, we're going to take a look at how the cards themselves are organized in the binders. And to do that, we're going to be using Darkness Ablaze, the most recently released set at the time of making this video, because I figure I'll get asked how I'm doing on collecting it at some point or another. To show this off, I'm going to be using as an example the most beloved Pokemon of all, Vanillish! Come on down, buddy. I went so back and forth on this for a long time about how many cards should go in each pocket, and I ultimately decided on 6. I did it this way because we'll have 1 normal and 1 reverse holo for collection purposes, and then 4 other copies for building a deck with, as that's the maximum number of a card that can be in a deck. By doing it this way, you don't hurt the collection, but if a card becomes relevant in the future and there's something that gets printed with a lot of synergy with it, you already have it ready to go and can just reach in and pull it. Plus, the cards slide in really nice and easy with 6. It's not too many that you're over bloating the pocket and bending the cards, potentially damaging them in the future or hurting other cards around them. I think it's the sweet spot of just the right number, but of course, if you have any other suggestions, I'd love to hear them because I went back and forth on this so many times, and I don't know if there's truly a correct answer. This is just what I do. Every single holofoil card in my collection has a perfect fit sleeve over it. If you don't have a perfect fitting sleeve, if the sleeve is wider than the pocket, it can end up causing it to warp a lot more easily, especially as temperatures change as the seasons move. So that's why I chose this. You can find them all shopping online. I buy them by the 1,000 because I just go through them so quickly. And then if I may move to another binder, this one's a personal favorite of mine. You might have noticed some of these binders had stars on them earlier. A silver star signifies that that binder has 1 of every card in the set in it. A gold star is every variant of every card, within reason. I cannot stress this enough that it's within reason. For older sets, this would mean 1 of every normal version of a card and 1 of every first edition. In a more recent set, this would be every normal card, every reverse holo, and every piece of alternate artwork. There are a lot of cards in certain sets that don't have unique artwork for special promo versions, like first place Serena, second place Serena. These are backwards, what? I can't even count to 3. First place Serena, second place Serena, 8th place... I rest my case. Anyway, you're seeing that there's a lot of different cards that really have the same artwork and it's just different holofoil patterns or a different stamp. After a while, I stopped counting those because it was ludicrously unfun to collect. My least favorite kind of this are the theme deck exclusives, where you have cards that are normally holo, and they make non-holo versions to put in theme decks to keep the cost down. You get those, you spend a lot of money on those decks, and then you just break them apart, don't keep them together as a whole just to extract 1 card from them. That's not fun. I don't like that one bit. I think everyone has their limits for what they collect, and those are mine. On every binder spine are several features. There's a Roman numeral. We are seriously almost up to 90 people who have not kept up with this game in several years and figured that it probably ended a long time ago. I don't think there's really that many of you in the world, though, but I always had adults in my life telling me, I didn't even know they made Pokemon anymore, and it infuriated me. So we have the Roman numeral showing what set number this is. The background of this header shows what generation it is. I chose this for Generation 8 as it was the middle color between the blue for sword and the pink for shield. Thought it was a nice color, so I just lifted that and used it. We have the set symbol, set logo, and a nice background. I know a lot of people would love to have custom binders for their sets, but unfortunately I can't really share them in a good way because they're Photoshop files, there's so many of them, they're very large due to the printing resolution. But I will be making 1 binder spine available on my Twitter account after this video, should you want to see one up close and possibly make your own based on that. Not to mention, my binder sizes might be very different from yours, so even if I did release them all, they probably wouldn't be helpful to most people. This binder spine system was designed by my good friend Stephen George. In fact, a lot of his cards actually now exist in this collection. He sold me his childhood cards many years ago, and I still have all of them. He made the first 6 of these, and I assembled the rest based on his notes and examples. Now, if I may divert into a side topic here for a moment before we totally move on from Darkness Ablaze, I really wish I did a pack opening today. I usually open about 1 pack a day, unless it's like some kind of special occasion. Well, I want to say that I have opened about 30 packs of Darkness Ablaze, and I already have both of these things! And that's not all. In the pack that I opened today, I got another one of these guys. My luck with this set has been, it's so good that in some states it's even illegal. I'm pretty sure. I don't know how I've gotten this lucky with it. I tend to have very good luck with Charizard cards. And I mean, I guess there's worse gifts in the world to have because I've been able to resell my extras for hundreds of dollars before, but what a thing to have happen. That's everything to do with card storage, so now that we move on, I'd like to reveal the playmat that we're using today. This thing is amazing. I love this thing. The Ditto crossed out, Pikachu with ×2 written in marker. He's taping sparkles on slips of paper onto himself to look as cute and appealing as Pikachu does. This playmat was made by Mew Art. That's a 3 O's. You can find a link to their shop in the description. This is not a sponsored spot or anything. This is just simply a nice playmat that I got as a gift, and I tracked down the image online, found the artist who was selling them, and I wanted to give it a shout out because I just loved it that much. What I thought we could do for the rest of this time is show some of my favorite card artwork that I've collected over the years, as well as some of the most valuable cards in my collection, as those tend to be the first things I get asked about. And I did ask Twitter what sort of things they wanted to see in this video, and those were some of the most popular suggestions. Because it would take way too long to go through all my favorite artwork, this is just gonna be from the first couple of generations. Or 3. First off, I'm actually a very big fan of early CG. In some cases, like Brock's Onyx here, it looks really funny to me. I just like his face and how uncanny the whole picture is. But in other cases, I think early CG can have some good charm to it. Such as this jungle Vileplume, where it just looks so delicious that I want to bite into its juicy exterior and eat it. Only me? Well, I think it looks delicious. One of the reasons I collect Pokemon cards is to have a compendium of all the wonderful artwork that Pokemon's had over the years. And the Gen 2 sets are such a good repository for this, like this Espeon and this Umbreon right here. A lot of people have asked me over the years, just in my personal life, if you should collect Pokemon cards for an investment. It's not a good investment. You won't see a return on most cards. But if there is one type of card that I find holds its value very well over time, it's Eevee Evolutions. They tend to have cool artwork, they're very popular. People just love Eevee and collecting everything to do with them. This next one fits into a weird category, where I see a lot of people always criticizing Pokemon cards that use stock artwork, yet this is still one of my favorite early cards. Koga's Kakuna. I think this might be the only example where a card didn't use one piece of stock artwork, but 2. And it's just so silly and admittedly kind of lazy looking, but it's actually awesome. I really like this card, and not because it's good at all, it's just so lame that it manages to be amazing to me. I like it when cards have little details that can be noticed over time. This is a detail that I didn't notice until just a few weeks ago. This Neo Discovery Natu is perching on ruins that just so happen to be cracked in the shape of a Natu. That's really cool. I like that. This is just a common card. It's not anything special that anybody's supposed to pay a lot of attention to. It shows how much thought can go into some of these things. Some other common cards can have some really cute artwork as well. I like it when there's a relatively inexpensive card that's just nice to look at. It's one of the good reasons to get them. Furthering Gen 2 having some great artwork, the e-reader sets are amazing. There's hundreds of cards in these sets. They have all entirely unique artwork that you're unlikely to have seen anywhere else. One of my personal favorites is this Feraligatr. As someone who started with Totodile when they were a kid, this is sick, man. Just seeing him being the gator in the swamp, it's such a cool view and interpretation of the character. Within the same set, Blastoise tried to rip him off, and oh boy, does it show. He just looks so clumsy and lame by comparison. It's really good. It's kind of cute, actually. Speaking of cute, within the same set, this is the Totodile that Feraligatr evolves from. Isn't he cute? The e-reader sets have some more cool artwork that I very much like. This Umbreon against the backdrop of a city at nighttime is awesome. And then some of them are just downright silly, like this Electrode with broken teeth. I suppose that would happen if you went boom enough times. This Ampharos just heard the greatest dad joke of all time, you can just tell. And then there's this Grimer that I think could be a meme reaction image. Don't lie, it has potential. There's this Houndoom looking super cool, like all of us imagined Houndoom would be like when we were kids. That's kind of another thing about this artwork, is you see Pokemon in different contexts that you wouldn't see in the games or the anime, and some of it's kind of melancholy, like in the case of this. There's this Minun dancing on a rainbow, and then there's this Miltank who just caught trying to suck itself. Everyone's got a favorite Pokemon, or just one that they're particularly close with, and lately for me, it's been Skitty. A Pokemon that I had no attachment to whatsoever before, but now has just become such a big deal to me. And Delcatty too. These are both very cool pieces of artwork. This one's just so adorable, I could stare at it for so long. Vibrava here gets some love, being a middle evolution with a cool... He looks really good in holofoil, even if this is what reverse holos were like at the time. It just comes together really nicely. I call it Raichonk. Probopass going for a walk, another Pokemon I've had a lot of attachment to lately, looking awesome. And another cute common card for you, all from some Gen 4 sets actually. I was gonna say Gen 3 though, but no, this is all Gen 4, what am I saying? I guess that's just how I am. I say I'm gonna go to 3 gens and I just won't stop talking. And then I guess for the last one, I like Swellow a lot more than I think most people do, and this one right here, it's majestic is all that is. Next up, I'd like to move on to the most valuable cards in my collection. This is usually the thing I get asked first by people who aren't really that into collecting. So first off, everyone loves the Shining Pokemon from Neo Destiny. These are classics, and a lot of people see them as the most valuable cards in the second generation. I like these a lot. I don't know if Mew here is worth particularly much. This was a promo card that just has the Neo Destiny symbol on it. It was only released in Japan. But just because of the Neo Destiny symbol and the fact that it fits in so well with the other stuff, I always stored it with those. And I also have a lot of sentimental value attached to this card, so I've always really liked it here. I'll show it up close a little bit more. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I always thought this was some super rare card because I'd never seen another like it as a kid, but I found it as I got older that it's not really in the same league as the other ones, but I still love it. On the note of the Shining Pokemon, I do have the Shining Charizard, back when Shining Charizard was purple. The shiny purple dinosaur here has got a few things I want to say about him. He does have a little bit of a nick right about here in the foil, but other than that, he looks pretty good. Any sort of little nicks in the card are really reserved for the back. And he was just one of those cards I got a great deal on from a card shop, so I decided to swipe him up. He might not be in perfect pristine condition, but it's a lot better than not having one, and I like that very much. There's a Tropical Tidal Wave staff from Worlds 06. I think that's pretty rare. I don't know if this card is as valuable as I think it is because I bought it as part of a sale and I wouldn't really expect a sale price to apply to this, but maybe somebody listed something wrong. But I have a top 32 Tropical Tidal Wave from Worlds 10. Again, not sure if that's really as rare as I think it is. I know that there's 3 divisions, so that would imply that if we're taking positions 17 through 32 and multiplying that by 3, there'd be 48 of these in the world, but maybe I'm wrong about it, I don't know. I did get a good price on it, so if it really is that rare, then lucky me. A mechanic I always liked as an artwork collector were the Pokemon Legend from the Heart Gold Soul Silver sets. You had to play these 2 cards together in one, as the top half had the HP of the card and the bottom half had the attack, weakness, resistance, all that stuff. And they came together to form one big, beautiful picture. Sort of a precursor to the tag team cards of today. These are the only 2 complete ones that I presently own. The thing that hurts me so much is that my personal one of my favorite cards of all time is Darkrai Cresselia Legend, and I only have the top half of it showing Darkrai. This right here is the coolest picture of Darkrai that I think has ever come out of anything official. He looks so nightmarish and almost like some kind of overgrown tree with no leaves on it. It's awesome. Also, why was this not how they handled Dynamaxing in the TCG? Instead of a cool thing like this where you end up with physically giant cards by playing them at the same time, we just got another lame clone of exactly how evolution works with nothing special about it except for big HP. You want to see a rare and expensive card that I don't like? Now, this is a card that I acknowledge is something that a lot of people would love to have. But personally, I'm not that big of a fan of this thing, and I kind of resent paying as much as I did for it. Now, the reason why I think this card is so lame is, for one, there is a promo version of this card, and it looks way cooler than this thing. Just look at it on the side here. It is such a better card. And this thing is outrageously expensive when that cool looking promo version isn't worth anything. I don't like it at all. I think it's so lame, just how it isn't worth squat. None of that makes any sense to me at all. This card wasn't even good in its day either. It's a terrible card. No one played this thing in decks, at least not that I saw. I didn't see it show up at any high-profile tournaments even. It's another Charizard card that has a really big damage number on it. You discard tons of energy to do it. It is the most basic of old Charizard cards, and was never good in battle from what I could tell. And yet, it's worth tons of money, even though I don't think Charizard even looks good in this rainbow color scheme. There are some Pokemon that do. I love Flygon cards that are rainbow rares, but I don't even think it looks good. And yet, just because it's a shiny, sparkly card with Charizard on it, it's worth hundreds of dollars. If there's a card I kind of regret spending a lot of money on, it's this one. Last up are what I think are the two most expensive cards in my collection. For those of you that looked closely when you saw which sets I had completed, some of you might have wondered if I actually have these, and I do. First up is the Pokemon Center promo card from Wizards of the Coast. This was distributed at the Pokemon Center in New York City for a limited time shortly after it opened. I want to stress, main numbered card in a set that was available nationwide, but you had to physically be in New York City during a set time to get it. Nice, real nice. Thankfully, they don't do things like this that often anymore, but back then it was all the rage. And speaking of it happening really often back then, I have here a factory sealed Lucky Stadium promo card that was given out in the same means around the same time. I have never seen one of these for sale, ever. I've seen outdated listings for factory sealed ones, and I've seen listings for ones that are not factory sealed. I've never seen a factory sealed one for sale when it was still active. I don't know how much this card is worth. It was a gift for me from Massayanella, and I don't know how much she spent on this and how much more it was than I would ever spend on one card, but she did it, and it completed a set for me that I thought I would go decades without ever finishing. So I thank her dearly for that. This thing is amazing. Don't know anyone else who's got one. Never even seen another one before. Thank you. Do you like the deck sleeves I was using to mark those shots? I know I do. I think that about does it. Thank you for giving this a shot with me, because this is a very new territory for me, and I've wanted to make videos talking about Pokemon cards for a long time. I have a lot of ideas for other videos, and if you guys are interested, I'd like to make more. I have lots of different stories that I could do. I have some cards that have some stories attached to getting them. I could just make a chill video talking about what it was like getting those. I could make a video about jumbo cards and what I do with those, because I know a lot of people don't really know what to do with their jumbo cards, and they're really beautiful things that I kind of wish people paid more attention to and just knew how to care for them and stuff like that. A lot of people I know just throw them away or resell them to a card shop for less than $1. I don't like that. I really like jumbo cards a lot, and they have a place in my collection. I could tell the story of the worst tournament I ever went to. That could be kind of fun. Just let me know what sounds appealing to you, and hopefully soon we can meet back up for this again. See you guys then. There's some cards that I have some sent. Kirby? Kirby, no. Kirby, no. Kirby, no. Get away from there.